Yo, I'm Brendan. Today we're going to start investing with Fennel for the first time ever. So I'll go through exactly what that looks like to set up your account, how I'm going to set everything up, and how I'm going to get started investing with this new app. I did a little tour of this a couple weeks ago, so if you want to watch that, you can do that at the end, and I'll have that linked at the very end of this video for you if you want like all the overview of all the features and stuff like that. But for now, let's get investing. As you can see on the top corner here, it says expired, and all that means is my free 7-day trial has already expired. So what I'm going to have to do to start investing here is pay $5 per month. Now, if you didn't catch that first video about Fennel, the reason that they charge money up front is they don't make money in some of the other ways that other investing apps do. Other investing apps are going to make money. Just because they're commission free doesn't mean that it's free for us. There's value being exchanged there, and they're just more upfront about it, so they charge you money. But a quick overview of the features and benefits that we're going to be getting here by paying $5 a month. Unlimited trades, which is nice. Not that I trade all that often, but unlimited trades is nice. ESG data and analytics, and that's really what stood out to me whenever the first time I saw this app was, wow, I love the way they display data. I love the way that everything is easy to understand compared to most apps where I'm like, dude, don't even show me that crap. I don't want to know. I don't want to see it. It doesn't help me because I can't interpolate anything out of it. So you've either got to be so educated that you can interpret the data accurately and well and have that inform your decisions properly. All three of those things have to be right. Or you could have something like this that explains it better for you. So I like that. Plus I can have financial information, so more metrics on companies and stuff like that, which I want to dive deep into whenever we can. Shareholder voting and news, which is interesting because you can filter by industry and you can kind of have that, again, collated for you in an easy to understand way. Plus prioritize customer service in case something goes wrong. You can reach out to them. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's get you ready to invest. They're legally required to collect some information for FINRA. So now I'm just typing in my name, my date of birth, phone number, basic contact info and stuff like that. Then I'll also be linking my bank account to this so I can send money to Fennel. Annual income, that's to be determined. Just quit my job to do this, so I don't know what I'm going to make here, but hopefully it's substantial. Last but not least, before we get started, you'll have to connect your bank account to manage your subscription and start investing. This is totally standard if you've never done this before. You've got to give an investing company a source to get money from. There's got to be a connection there so you can send money. Plus, if you pay a subscription fee or something like that, they're going to also probably withdraw that from the bank. So there's going to be a couple different possible transactions there. Your investing transactions and then the actual membership fee. So it looks like they use Plaid to do this, which is a pretty common way to do this. Plaid's like a third-party service that can connect financial institutions. This might just take a minute. Hang tight. My account is within review. Should take about 15 minutes. Return to check in a bit. If there's no updates by the close of business today, make sure to check your emails or reach out to support. We're so excited to have you as a client. All right, come back in 15 minutes, which for you will be 3, 2, 1. All right, that didn't take long. 6 minutes later, my account has been linked. Then I got a follow-up email that said Fennel account approved. So I think if I take me to my Fennel account, then I'm gonna go right back into it and everything should be working. Maybe. No? Maybe you have to log out and log back in. All right, we're in. So this is what it looks like whenever you first come in here. I can see a portfolio of $0, of course. You can see I have an option to deposit. Shows me my total cash, which I think represents the uninvested cash. If I had other things invested, this would be what's left over that's not invested. And then my holdings. Oh, a fun fact. The term dog is used to refer to a poorly performing stock, especially when compared with its industry peers or within a portfolio. I think that's outside of financial world, isn't it? Like I've heard people call a car that's slow like a dog. Like, ah, man, this thing's a dog. Then whenever I actually have something besides holdings, it could give me an ESG score, I assume, for my entire portfolio that I choose, which is interesting. My performance, my attributes, I like that. Like the critical investing data that you really want to see about your investments would be there under attributes, and that's it. Okay, but I could explore some new stuff. What should we invest in, guys? I guess we should deposit money first, right? Okay, let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's actually invest some money. So we've got to deposit funds first. I'm going to deposit, how much should we start with? Let's say $1,000. Starting off strong here with $1,000. Reversal fee caution. I want to read all the fine print just to cover all the bases here because maybe you don't want to read the fine print later. So if you just watch this video, you get all the details. The reversal fees caution says if there isn't enough money in your bank account, you'll be charged a $30 reversal fee by their clearing firm, and the deposit may take up to 3 to 5 business days. So I'm not expecting to be able to necessarily invest today because it's going to take a few business days to make this happen. I might have to come back and make this video in 3 to 5 days, like next week when the money's actually there. So my transfer has been initiated, done. Yeah, and see, then this is not like Robinhood when immediately after you deposit money, then they let you start trading with it, even though the funds haven't been cleared yet and they haven't actually landed in the account. They're actually going to make you wait until the money is really there for realsies. Makes sense. All right, well, that's enough perusing for now. Let's come back whenever this money has settled, the $1,000 that I deposited, and then let's start investing in a way that makes sense, good research, and we'll do that. 3, 2, 1. All right, now fast forward a few days later, the money has been deposited into Fennel. It's landed, it's settled, which means we can actually make a decision on what we're going to invest in now. Now, I've been thinking about this for a while and trying to decide what's worth investing in, because I like the idea of using Fennel to leverage the data that we have and take a deeper look at what we're investing in than on a lot of typical apps. So it seems to be one of two ways. We either have sort of a beginner level app that doesn't really give us any data. So it doesn't give us a deeper insight into the companies that we're investing in, which generally is fine because I don't think most of us need that. But if you want it for whatever reason, you can't get it with the beginner level investing app. So it's a bummer. So then maybe you switch to a more hardcore app. You go into something like Interactive Brokers. You go into something like Webull. Maybe you pay for Seeking Alpha so you can have this data separately. You do all these things to try and get a better grasp of what you're doing. But there's a problem with that for most of us too, because then you have almost too much data, or you have this data in a way that still doesn't speak to you. It doesn't reveal what's really happening to you. And so it's like, why am I stuck in between these two worlds of no data or too in-depth, too cold, not telling me enough of a story data? So really what I've decided to do here with Fennel isn't to just hunt around and find some random investments. What I want to do is duplicate another portfolio that I have elsewhere, put the exact same things in the exact same proportions into Fennel, and then compare the user experience between the two and go, we've got the same investments in here. What's the story telling me in Fennel that it's not telling me in any other app? So let's do that now. And this is the portfolio that we're going to be mimicking, stealing, copycatting. This is my dividend portfolio that I'm currently doing in Robinhood. So what I did in a past video was break down the percentage of each investment that I have based on like the dollar amount. And the crazy thing was I had to do this in Excel, well, in Google Sheets, because Robinhood doesn't do this for you. They don't give you like a total portfolio view. They don't give you much data. And so what I'm hoping we can see here, I don't actually know because I've never used Fennel before. We're doing this together, is that Fennel gives us more of a complete idea of what our portfolio is doing all together. And don't forget that the cool thing about Fennel is that you get a free trial with it. So if you want to just download it and start checking it out without having to put in a credit card or do anything like that, you could actually kind of follow along with me right now if you wanted to. Use the link that I've put in the description for you, and then you can actually do this yourself and see what you think. So you can see my total cash here, $1,000, and my buying power is $1,000. So if that buying power was still zero, we would know the money hadn't landed and hadn't been ready to be used yet. But because that's there, it's ready to be used. And then it already gives me a little bit of a portfolio breakdown. Right now, 100% cash, 0% invested, obviously, but I look forward to changing that right now. So what I'm going to do is scroll down a little bit further and look at my holdings, which are 0, and we're going to add companies to my portfolio. Then it jumps us over to this middle button at the bottom, Explore, and I'm just going to start typing them in from top to bottom. My first one with Robinhood is ABR, Arbor Realty Trust. And then one more thing that I'm counting on with Fennel is that I can use fractional shares. Because like, for example, right now, as a percentage of the $1,000 that I have deposited, I only need to buy $3.80 worth of ABR. So that's what I'm hoping to do right now. Let's see if it works. One limitation we might run up against is if Fennel doesn't have fractional shares, then we're just going to have to get the portfolio as close as we can. I won't get absolutely everything in here the same way it is in Robinhood, because Robinhood offers fractional shares. I really like fractional shares. So let's see if I can go ahead and do that here, or if we're going to have to adjust a little bit. And immediately, I don't see an option for fractional shares. So I could be missing something, but all I see is in the top right corner, we can either do a limit purchase or a market purchase. So we can set a limit for the price that we want, and it'll be bought at or below that price. And we can also do a market order. So I definitely wish it had fractional shares, but I don't see any option for that. Something new that I see an option for that I've never seen before is how we can route the order. So it's like saying, normally you don't have this level of control, but because part of Fennel's kind of like MO is giving us more control and more transparency as far as how investing works, we've got a lot of options here in terms of order routing. And thankfully there's like a little I that we can push to get more information about our order routing options, because I don't know what this stuff means. Exchange plus ATS plus SDP. What is that? That's the default. So an ATS is a little bit more loosey-goosey than a typical exchange is, but it gives you another option because maybe it means that then you can find a place for your trade to go through. You know, it's like all these different routes on a freeway. Well, if this route's open, if that exit is open and your trade can go that way, then maybe that's good for you. And then the other thing I didn't know that we're going to learn right here is an SDP. An SDP is a single dealer platform. And so this is also not an exchange. It's a way that trading can happen through market makers. If you remember in a past video, I talked about market makers being this kind of middleman in between the people like Fennel or Robinhood or wherever and the actual stock market themselves. They're the people who have to actually make the moves. But as we know in the past, when it comes to deals like the GameStop debacle and stuff like that, sometimes a market maker's loyalty isn't necessarily to the private retail trader. Sometimes it might be to somebody else. And so the goal with all of these things, to have these multiple different avenues of being able to complete a trade, is that it increases your likelihood of getting the price that you want. If you want to like play it safe, have no other parties involved, be more okay with the potential of your price going up or down more than you want, well then you can pick on here and have the choice of exchange only. You can tap exchange only and go, I don't want to play with the ATS and the SDP deal. All I want to do is play with exchanges. Okay, great. But if your priority is to get the best possible price and you're okay with these kind of middlemen being involved, potentially, not for sure, then you have the option of doing that top one. And it's kind of funny to even have that discussion and have that rabbit hole, because it's part of those things that fall into the category of like, is this just too many options? Is this TMI? Do we need to know all the inner workings of how the stock market works to be able to invest with it? No, technically you don't. But it's interesting that Fennel relays that kind of information to us in a fairly digestible format to say, hey, this is the way things could happen. You get a choice in how you want that to happen. So if it doesn't matter to you, like frankly, it doesn't matter all that much to me if I'm going through a market maker or whoever else. I don't really care. I think I'd probably prefer to have the best price. I'll stick with the default option here at the top. But if in your reading, in your research, and in your life, if you decided, hey, I really don't want to do business with those people. I want to go straight to the exchange. I'll pay an extra penny per share. I don't care. As long as I avoid those jerks over there, I'm going to do exchange only. Well, now you have the option. So unfortunately, I can't actually buy a part of a share of ABR, which is what I would need to do to keep my percentages correct with my Robinhood portfolio. So we're just going to stick to the more major things and get as close as we can with whole shares. And so I've picked 5 of like the major investments that I have in my Robinhood dividend portfolio to then mimic over here. So what it looks like to actually trade within Fennel, once you find the thing that you want to buy, you hit trade, buy, because I don't have any to sell yet. And then let's say I want to buy 4 shares of JEPI. So I've got the option of a limit price or a market price. For now, I'm okay with the market price. I'm going to buy 4 shares at the current price, $57.03. That's going to be about $228. I'm happy with my order routing option being the default one, which gives me the most possible options, and it should give me the lowest possible price. So I like that. I'll hit review. It's going to let me confirm. We'll swipe up. Oh, don't close the app. Swipe up. All right, it's being submitted. I have some kind of dancing worm on the screen. There we go. Success. Order has been placed. Done. That's my first investment with Fennel. And then immediately I can see my cash available has dropped, which is what I want. All right, next I'm going to get another dividend ETF, SCHD. We're going to buy this bad boy. 2 shares of this one. Review, swipe up, boom. Order is being submitted. Next one is SPHD. And this is basically real time. This is so fast. I have people that comment and they're like, how do I invest? I don't understand how I do this. It's like, guys, you just get in the app and you literally follow the instructions that it gives you, like step by step. It's going to take all of 2 minutes to invest $1,000 and then boom, done. Off to the races. That order's been placed. 2 more and we'll be done. Then once we're done with this, what I really want to know is, what do we get in terms of a data readout for the whole portfolio? We're going to do 3 shares of SPYD. Swipe that baby. That's done. And then our last one, because I only have, let's see how much money I've got left. I only have $16 left to trade with, so I'm going to have to pick like a very small amount of something. So let's pick something that will fit PSEC. I think I can get 2 shares of Prospect Capital if I've done my math correctly here. 2 shares for $5.46 a share. Ooh, maybe 3 shares for $16.38 total. Let's do it. Orders being submitted. Come on, baby. It's like playing a little bit of a puzzle game to get as many whole shares as you can within the dollar limit that you've deposited. All right, let's refresh this thing, make sure it's all up to date. Cool. So now my total cash has gone way down, which is what I want, because it's showing that my buying power is only 37 cents. I've invested 99.96 of all the money that I've put in here. And then now if I scroll down, I actually have holdings. Heyo, JEPI, PSEC. I can click right into it and get more nerdy. And then let's look at what happens with news and performance. So if I click news, now I've got this nice filtered view of only news about my investments. So it'll tell me if it's a positive or negative sentiment about the thing that I've bought, what it is, who published it. So in this case, it's a lot of Seeking Alpha, ETF trends, more Seeking Alpha, and the date it was published. And then let's look at performance and see what we can see. We haven't received enough data to show your portfolio's performance data. Check back soon. Makes sense. I've only had it for about a minute, but now, what I really want to see is attributes. What can you tell me about the whole portfolio? Come on, Fennel, come through for us here. Attributes. Attributes are updated daily. Gah! I mean, it's acting like it's going to update it, and it's acting like it's going to give us this. I'm guessing that it's still gathering data. So I might have to come back again, another section of this video, and come back to you and show you the results of this once it's actually loaded, because I want this to be a complete showing of what it looks like to invest with Fennel. It's just not immediate. You have any ESG information? No. No votes information. All right. Well, I'm going to put another pin in it, and I'll come back in somewhere between 2 hours and 2 days, and I'll give you the rest of the information. 1, 2, 3. All right, welcome back. It's the next day, and I've got a great update because all that information I was hoping that's landed on here has landed. So let's take a look at it together and see what the value is here. This is something that I wish other investing apps did. It's so silly that they don't. It's such an obvious thing. I want M1 to do this. I want Robinhood to do this. I want everyone to do this. And so frankly, I'm flabbergasted that I haven't seen this before. If they can build on this in the future, this is going to be a really, really great app. All right, so first off, whenever we open the app, now that it's March 12th, the next day, I can see a 1-day chart. If you want to look at like literally moment by moment, whenever things are happening, you can kind of update and see what your balance is. I can see what's happened this week, this month, whatever. It's all, pretty much the same story because I've had the money invested for like a day. But when we scroll down, that's when it gets really interesting. So we look here, we can see our 5 holdings. We can cycle through different information, or we can just swipe to the right and we can see like how much we have, what our price was, some basic information about each individual thing. And I love how they keep the ticker symbol there on the left side where it's still vertical. It like makes it really easy to see, but it's like minimally space consuming, if that makes sense. And all this is fine. Like this is very normal looking for an app. But what's not normal is this next part. Now they have that same kind of curated view where you might have looked at a particular ETF or something else and you'd had this comparison of like, how is its performance compared to other things in its similar sector? And now I can do that within my portfolio. It's like all this data for the whole stock market and these individual stocks or ETFs or whatever are now collated together to give me what I want from my own portfolio. So I can see easily within my portfolio the top and bottom performers, which is really cool, and my portfolio average performance so far. And then we get into the really cool part, which is what everybody should be doing. Why is every software developer not doing this with their app? It's crazy to me. I want the attributes of my overall portfolio. I want you to take the kind of things that people dissect whenever they're going to pick something to invest in and give me that same data for everything I'm invested in. Give me that customized view so I can see what I'm doing. If we look at the kinds of things I'm investing in, they're pretty broad, diverse ETFs. They're largely like shooting for dividends. And so they're not, the most risky thing in the world, but I never would have guessed that my beta was this low. A 0.77 beta. Wow, it's a pretty secure little setup I've got here. Didn't know that. The dividend yield math looks pretty paltry compared to what I expected. So I don't know if that needs updating or if my dividend yield really will be that low. But right now it's looking like it's only 0.25. We'll check that again in the future and just verify that it makes sense. But I think it's interesting. I get a price to earnings for just my portfolio. I get a price to book. I get a market cap breakdown. I get what sectors I'm in. This is the kind of thing that I want to see across all my investments. Like ideally, if I could just take a magic wand and wave this app into existence, what I would want to do is be able to see this on all my different investments all the way across Vanguard, M1 Finance, Robinhood, everything. I'm actually shocked at how well spread out my sectors are. It's like such equal little proportions of all these different sectors. I would have thought that I would have been tech heavy or whatever else too, but because of the nature of these very large companies that are oriented around dividends, I guess it's pretty spread out in what I've particularly chosen. That's the cool part about this is yours, whenever you invest with Fennel or whenever the stuff that you pick to look at will be a totally different mix than this because this is totally catered to your portfolio. In the past, the only way that I could have figured this kind of thing out would be to literally like break down by dollar value all the different things I was investing in. Like if I want to do that with Robinhood, I had to do that. To make a video with my Robinhood dividend portfolio, I had to literally put it into Google Sheets and then generate a chart based on dollar value of like the percentage of each thing in my portfolio and what I'm investing in. Why do they not do that for you? It's totally crazy. This kind of thing is partially why it benefits for us to be on the lookout for a new investing service like this, is I go, well, geez, if they're going to bring out these kind of new features that seem like with fresh eyes, something everyone should be doing, well, it's worth taking a little bit of a risk and trying something new. Man, if anything, this has just whet my appetite for more data because I like seeing this here, but this is obviously not my primary way I invest yet. Like it's a very new service. I'm really testing it out for you guys so I can like communicate with you and show you what I'm seeing and stuff like that. But I would love to have this kind of data across all my investments. Ideally, it'd be cool if the watch list could do this too, because I'd be able to be like, hey, I'm really overexposed to tech in this portfolio because VTI, because the FANG stocks are going to be like the overwhelming force. So maybe I should invest a different way. And then likewise, I get an overall portfolio ESG score. So it tells me based on all the different things I'm investing in, all these different ESG factors, if you will. I know ESG is not for everybody. I'm not even totally sure ESG is for me as far as an investing strategy. You know, do I want to make the most possible money, or do I need to prioritize executive leadership scores? I'm sure it's an imperfect system because every system is imperfect, but it's cool that if you cared to know, you have this access for a summarization of your whole portfolio, not just cherry picking a company here and there. Again, what I liked about Fennel initially in the first video was just that it made all of this easy to understand, and the fact that they're collating all of this into one portfolio view continues with that trend. It makes it easy for me to understand, and that's what makes the data interesting to me. Like I'm honestly not interested in studying charts and financials and reading prospectuses and going over cash flow statements or whatever else. I'm not going to sit here and analyze stocks. I'm just not. So if I can take my little baseline of knowledge that I have and join that up with meaningful, easy to understand data that helps me to see the overall picture, the 10,000 foot view of what I'm investing in, it's going to help me make better decisions. It'll be like better decisions along the lines of what I think is right, or what I think will make me the most money, or what I'm most comfortable with, all that kind of stuff. Man, that's so cool. I guess there's still a couple of things I'm just not totally sure on. A, why are there not fractional shares? Because to me, that just seems like a foundational feature. And B, do they have something like a DRIP program, a dividend reinvestment program? Because obviously I picked a bunch of like dividend related stuff because I wanted to compare the way I see this data compared to my other portfolio I have in Robinhood, which is a dividend portfolio. But whenever these companies issue their dividends, it makes me wonder if I'm just going to have this cash balance go up because it's just going to deposit it in there and I'll have to wait until I lump up enough cash to buy another whole share of one of these, or if it's automatically going to reinvest and buy me more of that same stock again, or ETF, buy me the same ETF again. I looked on their website. I don't see it there. I don't see anything really specifically listed like in the profile section of the app. Like it's not giving me a whole bunch of feature information, if that makes sense. So I think that's something that needs to be added in the future, just so that we understand if we have a specific feature or a question that we want answered, I would want that to be more readily available. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Like if you've gone onto the Fennel website and you're like, the FAQ page is right there, it answered all your questions, you missed it, please put it in a comment. Let me know. But I just don't see it right now. So I think that's something that would help people in the future. Because for me, I want to do a decent amount of research before I make a jump from one investing service to another. And so everybody has like their thing. Do I want it to be this way? I want it to have that feature. I need to see a chart in this way. Like everybody has their kind of preference. It's like your favorite food. The way you interact with your food is unique. The way people interact with their investing service is unique too. And so it makes sense that you would want to have your feature in there. I just sometimes find it hard to see exactly which features are included or aren't, or how to find them or whatever. Granted, it's a new app. I don't know how long they've been around, but it's pretty darn new. But man, if they keep going in this trajectory, it's going to be really, really awesome. This is cool. Also, I like that the sort of default view is like almost a dark mode. That like really dark purpley blue gradient that's in here just makes it easy to look at, and it matches the website really well. Like the overall design of this thing is on point. Looks good. Well, it's exciting. Officially investing with Fennel. Got some money in there, got $1,000. I'm up a whole $2.17. Basically a professional investor for a living now. Could almost buy a quarter of a burrito. We're not into burrito and race car territory. We're in a quarter of a burrito territory as far as the gains we've made, but you just wait. Well, this particular video you're watching now and all the future Fennel videos, I'm going to put in a playlist. So in the future, if you're like, what was that service he was talking about? Just go back through and find in my channel the list of playlists. There's going to be all these videos stacked up there, which makes it easy for you to find. And if you missed the first video where I kind of perused through Fennel and looked at what the overall features were, you can watch that here now. And I didn't know about Fennel whenever I made the best investing apps for beginners video earlier this year, but it is an hour of deep dive into what makes for a good investing app. And that one I'll put right here for you, so you can watch that next. It really gets into the 6 factors of what makes for a good investing app, especially if you're newer to the stock market or if you just want to keep things simple. Till next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye.